The last time Indiana advanced beyond the first round in consecutive seasons, 2013-14. Last time Cleveland did it without LeBron on the roster, way back in 92-93. But here they are in the Eastern Conference semifinals. They're both there for the second straight year, so somebody will be moving on to a conference finals. Game 1 tips on Sunday, May 4th. The perfect wedding gift for Matty O. We're waiting on what time that game will happen, depending on what happens, obviously, with these few series that aren't wrapped up yet. But we know what's happening Game 1 on Sunday, so let's break it down. We'll make our predictions at the end. One thing to watch for in Cavs-Pacers 1-4 matchup.
Points. they're both going to put up
Who has
points.
more points at the end of the game? That's something to watch for.
One of my main things.
There's lots of scoring that's going to be happening. The Cavs were awesome against a really good Heat defense, shooting that 3-ball in their 4 games, hitting almost 20 threes per game. The Pacers are going to allow some threes to be made. That being said, they're also going to score a lot of points. So there's points to be had. As far as the Cavs go, I mean, they had the highest effective field goal percentage of any team in any playoff series in NBA history. That's how good they were. That's how efficient they were. That's how much Donovan Mitchell allows the other guys to work. He doesn't just take it upon himself. There was only one fourth quarter in this series where he had to be a superstar. He did that, but he relied on everybody else. Dean Wade got in there and contributed. Everybody was contributing on this team. That being said, as I said, the Pacers were awesome too. I mean, they had 4 players shooting above 40% from 3. The conductor, Tyrese Halliburton, is going to get them all involved. So simple points. A lot of them. A lot of points.
Simple points. Simple points. That is a simple point. It's going to be interesting to see these two offenses playing against defenses that can actually play defense, because it's a major step up in competition. I think for both of these teams, the Cavs faced zero resistance playing against Tyler Hero and the Miami Heat. Slightly more resistance maybe from the Bucks for the Pacers, but both of these teams lit up their opponents in round 1, and both the Cavs and the Pacers are better defensive teams than their opponents from round 1. So I think that is going to be awesome. I cannot wait for this series. I want to see who guards Tyrese Halliburton for Cleveland, because I think Cleveland's defense definitely is better than Indiana, but the matchups make a little bit more sense for Indiana. You assume when the Cavs have the ball, Mitchell will be guarded by Nesmith, Garland will be guarded by Nembhard, Strus probably is where Halliburton is hiding, which means he needs to deal with the screen navigation and stuff, but that's an okay hiding place. But when the Pacers have the ball, it's probably Strus on Halliburton as well, because I don't know if they have a guy who's really cut out to guard him. Nembhard probably gets Garland as his matchup. Nesmith likely gets Mitchell as well. I suppose Mitchell could try his hand with Halliburton, but I doubt they will do that.
Stretches, maybe.
Yeah, maybe for stretches. Certainly they'll switch and stuff, but the Pacers need Tyrese Halliburton to be the best player in this series if they're going to win. They need him to hit his threes. That was kind of the one spot of the game where he wasn't excelling against the Bucks. Only shot 27% in their first round series. But if he's able to be a 20-point per game scorer, shoot the ball well from outside, along with the passing, the assists, the ball control that he has, that's huge for the Pacers. On the flip side, like Donovan Mitchell could easily be the best player in this series. And if he's the best guard of the 3 all-star guards, at least, that are playing in this series, I think that means advantage Cleveland, but he's got a much tougher matchup to deal with. Aaron Nesmith is going to be all over this guy, pressing him from 94 feet. That's the strength of Nesmith and Nembhard. The ball pressure they bring really slows down teams like the Cavs, and the Cavs are a precision offense. They pass the ball, everybody's moving, ball movement and player movement as well. It's just going to be a lot tougher for Cleveland.
I love all that stuff. NBA.com says to watch Donovan Mitchell in Game 1. For this reason, I didn't know this. Until Cleveland's opener against Miami in the first round, only one player in NBA playoff history, Michael Jordan, had ever strung together 7 Game 1 performances of 30-plus points. Donovan Mitchell matched that when he went for 30-plus against the Heat. Mm-hmm. So he has that string of Game 1s going. I was like, wow. Okay, right away here, who will be able to slow down Donovan Mitchell in Game 1 of this series against the Pacers? Nesmith, I think, is going to have a big part of that. And then if you take anything from the super small sample size of their regular season matchups, and I say that because like 2 of the games you could throw out. It was at the end of the season. Cavs had wrapped up to the number 1 seed. They weren't even playing their guys in the second half. I think the Pacers rested everybody in one game. So not really those ones. But the ones in January, Halliburton did struggle with his shot against this team. Again, super small sample size, but only 12 points per game, shot 42% and only 30% from deep. And I'm with you, TK. For them to pull off this upset and advance to go to the conference finals again, Halliburton has to look like he did in some of those crazy good games against the Bucks, where he is that 20 to 25 point per game scorer, in addition to orchestrating the offense. Like, he's got to look for a shot, and those threes, he's got to hit them on a fairly decent consistency.
I will say this about Donovan Mitchell. When he needed to be the guy, he was relying on others to pass him the ball. He didn't necessarily have to bring it up every single time. He was using Max Strus triple handoffs. He uses those other guys to get him going. So it doesn't have to be just him versus Nesmith.
Right. Not just ISO.
Good.
Yeah.
No, they're good at that. And he was a monster in that fourth quarter. What game was that? Game 2, when he had 17 points in that fourth quarter when they needed him. So, yes, the superstar level here is Donovan Mitchell trying to get to his first conference finals. We'll see if he can do it. I assume he could.
Good point. X factors in this. It's funny because playoffs historically are a time when those benches shorten, but these two teams, man, they got deep rosters. And they trust 3 or 4 guys. Both squads do, it feels like, in Carlisle and Atkinson. So who do you pinpoint as an X factor in this team?
Yeah, these teams have like pretty similar rosters, pretty similar styles of play, pretty similar like statistics on both sides of the ball. Like, they're both good offenses, they're both good defenses. They go 8 to 9 deep depending on how it goes. It's going to be an awesome series. One guy that I'm looking at is Jared Allen, who I think could dominate this series inside. He's a much stronger player than Miles Turner. He does most of his damage inside. Cleveland is only 13th in offensive rebound rate, but Indiana is 20th in defensive rebound rate. So not a huge part of the Cavs game crushing the offensive glass, but it could be if they need it. But on the flip side of it, Miles Turner's a good 3-point shooter. Could he stretch out Jared Allen and make him look a little out of his element defending on the perimeter? I think that's a question mark for Cleveland. And if that's the case, are they going to Mobley as the only big in the lineup? And then it's like, are we playing Hunter or are we playing Wade? Are they better than, or are they able to hang with Siakam? That will be a question for the Cavs to answer, and that's why Jared Allen, to me, is the X factor, because we've seen him have series where he shoots 75% from the field, dominant inside, and he basically ended Game 4 against the Heat before it even started, right? Like, that wasn't a front court that could really hang with him, so I think he can dominate, and I think there's a world where he's not playing the minutes that he's used to, and they have to go for a slightly smaller lineup that we saw have success for the Bucks against the Pacers as well.
Yeah, you may see Evan Mobley play 5 a lot. And flashback to last year in the playoffs when he did against the Boston Celtics in round 2. And they're all comfortable with that, and Kenny Atkinson is fine doing that if that's needed. He's comfortable doing that, and that's why they got DeAndre Hunter. They got him to size up a little bit, play the 4 if we need to switch. It's mainly looking forward to the Celtics if they get there in round 3, but this will be a case where, Mobley go up to the 5, we'll bring DeAndre Hunter or Dean Wade, who contributed, didn't score a lot, but that's okay. That's all he needed to do. So what I'm looking forward to as far as the X factor goes, besides Tyrese Halliburton, I think the Pacers, the often overlooked guy, are going to need Pascal Siakam to play well against this huge team, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So whether Mobley defends him, who is so freaking good at guarding 23 feet away from the hoop, I think they're trying to get him sick on Pascal Siakam as much as possible. So we'll see Mobley just guarding him as much as possible just to get that hand up, because he'll be able to stick with him laterally. I think that's a very important matchup for the Pacers, even though they do have an extreme amount of depth, as you said.
Yeah.
So many guys that come through, but so do the Cavs. I mean, we're talking about Dean Wade here.
When you look at the benches, like the Cavs, you already mentioned a lot of them. Hunter obviously could be huge in this game on both sides of the ball. Ty Jerome, of course, he's been amazing so far in the postseason. Yeah. And then you got the 3 white guys. Which one of those guys is on fire from deep? Be it Strus, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade. Like, take your pick. They could be a difference maker in a game or a half in this series. And then the Pacers, Mathurin obviously puts pressure on the rim. He has his ups and downs. TJ McConnell at times looked like he did last season in the postseason, where he can take over and run the second unit. Obi Toppin, I think, sort of had a quiet first round, especially when you compare it to maybe what he was doing at the end of the regular season. But we know he's still trusted from Rick Carlisle. So there's a lot. Like, what did I just listed? Like, how many guys? 8 guys. That really I think we're going to be talking about in this series, in certain times of the series, because they're so deep, and I think they trust their benches. And like TK said, they sort of match up nicely. So it might be in the fringes where this is won. Well, let's get to a prediction then. Who's winning this? How many games? Tass, you get us started.
Well, the question for the Cleveland Cavaliers coming into this postseason was, do they have the guts? I mean, they don't have the ability. They've never been there before. It's the same sort of question for OKC. They're fairly young. They've never gone past the second round together. Do they have the ability to get there? And I think we saw it against the Miami Heat. Game 3 was the key for me. When they went to Miami, their first game, they showed that they could put their foot on the pedal and try and win it.
Without Garland.
Yeah, without Garland.
So one of their best players.
Yeah. Do they have the focus of a good playoff team? I think that was clear. They did. And I think combined with the superstardom of Donovan Mitchell, their depth, their size, the defense, which is better than the Pacers defense, although it's not a top 5 defense, I think that's enough. I'll take the Cavs in 6.
Okay.
I'm excited for this series. This is the League Pass series. You had to be watching League Pass to see how good the Pacers were the second half of the season. The Cavs definitely got more buzz, but I feel like it's kind of been muted because they were so good the early part of the season, starting 15-0, that their sustained success kind of just fell by the wayside because it was like, okay, yeah, we know the Cavs are good. Then they had their blowout series against the Heat. Didn't really learn much from that one, except for that the Cavs are still good. So I think it's exciting to see this one. Both teams have continuity, went through the playoffs with their same squads last year. Great rotations, great matchups. This is going to be awesome. The step up in competition, I think, is going to be awesome in game 1 to see, going against real defenses.
Yeah.
Is going to be a question mark for both of these teams. Can the Pacers hit enough threes to keep up with the Cavs is a question I have. I'll go with Cavaliers in 7.
Okay.
To win this one.
To circle back to your first point to start off this preview is things to watch for. Points. Because there should be a lot of them. Obviously, the flip side of that is who plays better defensively over stretches, because maybe that's all it takes over a 4 or 5 minute stretch to win these games. And that's what I can't wait to see, because I think the Cavs do have better individual defenders, but the Pacers sort of as a group unit, and especially when you have Nembhard and Nesmith, I like them and what we've seen from them over the last couple months. So I can't wait. I do love that it feels like it's a disappointing season if either of these teams loses right here, because the Cavs, of course, they win 64 games. And like you said, Mitchell's never even been in the conference finals. If they lose this, that'll be a disappointing season.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yes.
The Pacers, they went there last year. They got some lucky breaks in terms of injuries against their opponents, but they're using that for fuel. You think it was we just fell into that, but we want to show you that it's we're actually much better than that, and we're healthy now, and we got our squad. So I don't know if they'll feel as disappointed if they don't advance, but I think there would be, because they got there last year. It'd be a step back. So I love it. Ultimately, though, I'm going Cavaliers in 6. So I'm the same as you. So we're all taking the Cavs in the end. No one going Pacers. But that's what I'm sure Indy fans want to hear, that bulletin board material. Yeah.
Our man Ash chimed in. Also a Cavs in 6.
6, okay. Okay.
83% of the stream team saying Cavs.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Wow, 80, okay, that's higher maybe than I thought. But we obviously think it's going to be a competitive and long series. Let's hear from you, though, in the stream team, and obviously in the YouTube comments, things to watch for, X factors, other things we've missed that you're excited about when it comes to this one. Which tips on Sunday?